students. In the present video session, we'll discuss about switching, network models and protocol layering. So first we'll take switching concepts. So basically we are having two different types of switched networks. The first one is circuit switched network and the second one is packet switched network. So in the case of circuit switched network which requires a dedicated point-to-point connections while transmitting the data. But in the case of packet switch network, it doesn't require any dedicated path or point-to-point connection between sender and the receiver. So in the case of packet switch network, it can move the data in terms of small blocks, packets, which will be based on the destination address in each packet. So when the packet is received at the destination, the packets are reassembled in the proper sequence in order to get back our original message. So the diagram shows the circuit switch network. So here we can observe that there is a dedicated path from sender to the receiver. To the same dedicated path, the information or data need to be transmitted from the sender node to the receiver node. So in the case of packet switch network, so we can observe that we are having some intermediate devices like router, and the informations can be transmitted and through different paths, but at the receiver side the informations need to be reassembled to get back our original message. So that means the entire information will be segmented, and each packet will be traveled in different paths to reach the destination. So once again at the destination node, the informations can be reassembled according to the sequence number to get back our original data. So now we'll take what are the difference between circuit switch network and the packet switch network. So in the case of circuit switch network, as I mentioned before, there is a physical path between source and the destination. So this path is called as dedicated path. So this dedicated path need to be established before the information is transmitted between the sender and the receiver node. But in the case of packet switch network, there is no physical path or dedicated path will be established. So under circuit switch network, all packets use same path. But here under packet switch network, as I mentioned before, the packets travel independently through different paths. So in the case of circuit switch network, which reserves the entire bandwidth in advance, but here it does not reserve any bandwidth, or bandwidth reservation is not required under packet switch network. So since we are since we are using dedicated path as well as we are reserving the bandwidth, obviously the bandwidth wastage will come into picture under circuit switch network. But here on demand bandwidth is not reserved, so no bandwidth wastage. So next one is no store and forward transmission. The packet switching network supports store and forward transmission. So these are the different differences between circuit switching and packet switching concepts. Protocol layering. So whenever the communication is simple, we need to have only one protocol. But whenever the communication is complex, we need to maintain different protocols across different layers. So here suppose the communication, if it is simple, only one protocol is enough. But if the communication is complex, we can divide the task into subtask and we can call these as layers. For each layer, we can maintain the separate protocols. So such concept is called as protocol layering. So when the communication is complex, we may need to divide the task between the different layers, in which we need a protocol at each layer, and this concept is called as protocol layering. The diagram shows single layer protocol or simple communication. So here we are having Maria and Anne. Both need to communicate through the common transmission medium as air. So communication between Maria and Anne takes place in single layer. Either the language will be same, and either we can assume that Maria and Anne are neighbors with a lot of common ideas. So here this is a single layer protocol. Either Maria can listen or talk. Similarly, Anne can listen or talk. So here we need to have single protocol since the communication is very simple. A three-layer protocol. Initially we can assume that Maria sends the first letter to Anne, and Maria can talk to the machine which is located at layer 3. Similarly, Anne can listen to the machine which is located at layer 3. So now initially the third layer, that is this one, third layer machine, it listens to what exactly Maria says, and it will create the plain text. So here the plain text will be created. Plain text will be created, so at layer 3, and so that plain text which will be transmitted into layer 2, and layer 2 machine, it will receive the plain text from the layer 3. So the second layer machine, it receives the plain text and it will encrypt it. It will encrypt it. So now I can say that the plain text is converted into, plain text is, it is available in encrypted format. Encrypted format. So that encrypted information is called as ciphertext. That information is called as ciphertext. So now the machine which is located at layer 2, it transmits the ciphertext to layer 1. So in general I can say that the machine, the first layer machine, it receives the ciphertext from second layer machine, and after that it will put it in the envelope, and it will add the sender and receiver address, and it will mail that informations to the receiver side. So across the receiver side, the first layer machine, so this one, it receives the entire mail from the layer 1 of the sending node, and it, after receiving the mail, it will extract the informations from the mail. So that is nothing but the ciphertext. So ciphertext will be extracted from the mail and it will be transmitted into layer 2. So now the layer 2 machine, it receives the ciphertext from the layer 1 machine. So here across layer 2, the ciphertext, it will be decrypted back to get back our original information. So finally Anne can listen to the informations whatever sent from Maria, but it is not direct. So this kind of communication, which is called as complex communication or three-layer communication. We have, after considering the communication principles, so we can assume that there is a logical connection between the layers. So these logical connections are imaginary connections. So here we can observe that layer 3 of sending node and layer 3 of receiving node, there is a logical connection. Maria and Anne can think that there is a logical connection at each layer through which they can send the objects created from that layer. So these logical connections will help us to understand the task of layering. So each layer is responsible one in order to transmit the data efficiently to the receiver node. TCP bar IP protocol suite. So in the case of TCP bar IP protocol suite, we can observe that we are having 5 different layers, and these layers can build upon the hardware. So those layers are application layer, transport layer, network layer, data link layer, and the physical layer. So the diagram shows layers in the TCP bar IP protocol suite. So here we are having total 5 layers like application layer, transport layer, network layer, data link layer, and the physical layer. So each layer has the logical connection between the nodes. So in the figure we can clearly observe that the duty of application layer, transport layer as well as the network layer is end to end. So the duty of application layer, transport layer and network layer, that is end to end. But the duty of data link layer and the physical layer is hop to hop. So in which a hop may be either switch or router. Hop may be either switch or router, and any other intermediate node we can consider it as hop. Physical layer. So physical layer is responsible for carrying individual bits. In a frame across the link. Even though the physical layer is the lowest layer in the TCP bar IP protocol suites, the communication between two devices at the physical layer is still a logical communication. Why? Because there will be one more hidden layer, that is nothing but the transmission medium. So whenever the two devices are connected by a transmission medium, either the transmission medium may be cable or air. So in the transmission medium does not carry any bits. So it just carry the informations in terms of electrical or optical signals. So transmission medium, it does not carry the bits. Instead of that, it will carry the informations in terms of electrical bar optical signals. So the bits received in a frame from the above layer, that means from the data link layer, are transformed and sent through the transmission medium, but we can assume that the logical unit between two physical layers in the two devices, it will be in terms of bits. So there are several protocols that transforms the bits into a signal. So as I mentioned before, the physical layer is responsible in order to carry the informations in terms of individual bits. But through the transmission medium, the informations will be carried in terms of electrical or optical signals. So we need to have some set of procedures or else the protocols, so that will convert the bits into electrical or optical signals. So across the sending node, suppose if this is a sending node, so here we have to convert bits into signal, electrical signal. So the signal will be transmitted through the transmission medium, the information in terms of signals. So at the receiver side, once again we need to get back our original data. So that means again electrical or optical signals need to be converted into bits to get back our original data. Data link layer. So the internet is made up of several links. Links may be LANs or WANs connected by the routers. So there may be several overlapping sets of links, and through those overlapping sets of links, the datagram can travel from the host to the destination. Here, the router is responsible one for choosing the best link among n number of links. So the link may be either wired LAN with a link layer switch, or wireless LAN, or wired WAN, or a wireless WAN. So we can also have different protocols used with any link type. In each case, the data link layer is responsible for moving the packet through the link. So here in the data link layer takes the datagram and it will encapsulate into a packet, and those encapsulated information can be called as frames. But the TCP/IP does not define any specific protocol for the data link layer. It supports all the standard protocols, any protocol that can carry the datagram through the links in the sense through the best links. The datagram layer takes data link layer takes the datagram, and it can be encapsulated into a standard packet format, and that can be called as frames. Network layer. Network layer is responsible for creating a connection between source computer and the destination computer. And the communication at the network layer, it will be host to host communication. Host to host communication. So we can say that the network layer is responsible for host to host communication and routing the packet through the possible routers. So we can have different network layer protocols like IP, that is Internet Protocol, that defines the packet format, and the called as datagrams at the network layer. So IP also defines the structure of the address used in the network layer. So similarly, we can have different protocols like ICMP, that is Internet Control Message Protocol, so which helps IP to report some problems whenever IP routes the packets. So similarly, we can have one more protocol like Internet Group Management Protocol, so which will help the Internet protocol, that is IP, in multi tasking. So one more protocol is DHCP, that is Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol, so which will helps IP to get the network layer address from the address for the host. So similarly, we can have the protocol called as address resolution protocol. That is, in short, we can call it as ARP, which will helps IP to find the link layer address of the host or a router. So the next layer is transport layer. The logical connection at the transport layer is also end-to-end. So at the transport layer, the source host gets a message from the application layer, and it will encapsulate the message that is called as segments in the case of user datagram, and packet in terms of TCP. And those encapsulated messages can be transmitted through the logical connections, which are imaginary connections to the transport layer at the destination host. So under transport layer, we can make use of two standard protocols. The first one is TCP, that is Transmission Control Protocol, which establishes the connection oriented service. That means the TCP is a connection oriented protocol. It will establish a logical connection between the transport layers at two hosts before transferring the data. And one more protocol is UDP, that is User Datagram Protocol. So that is connectionless protocol. It will not establish any logical connection between transport layers at two hosts before transferring the data. So UDP does not support flow control, error control and congestion control. UDP does not support flow, error control as well as congestion control. Along with TCP and IP, so we can use a new protocol called as Stream Control Transmission Protocol. So in short, we can call it as SCTP, Stream Control Transmission Protocol. So which is designed to respond to a new application which can be used in the case of multimedia. So the next one is application layer. So the logical connection between the two application layer is end-to-end. The application layers exchange messages between each other as though there were a bridge between the two layers. However, we should know that the communication is done through all the layers. The communication at the application layer is between any two processes. So the process may be the program which is running at this layer, means application layer. In order to communicate, the process will send a request to the other process, and the other process need to respond to the request. So in short, we can call this kind of communication as process to process communication. Process to process communication. So the process to process communication is a duty of the application layer which includes many predefined protocols, but a user can also create a pair of processes across the sending as well as receiving node. The set of protocol we can use under application layer may be HTTP, that is Hypertext Transfer Protocol, and Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, that is SMTP, and one more is File Transfer Protocol. The diagram shows encapsulation and decapsulation process. So we can perform encapsulation at the source site and we can perform decapsulation at the destination site. So at the application layer we are having just the payload. This payload or message does not carry any header or trailer information, and the payload will be transferred into the transport layer. The transport layer, it will add its own header information to the payload. So at the transport layer, after adding the payload, which will contains the identifiers of the source as well as destination node, and we can call this payload as segments in the case of TCP, and we can call this payload as UDP in the case of user datagram protocol. So after adding the header information at the transport layer, the segment or datagram, it will be transferred into the network layer. So the network layer, it will encapsulate the data by adding its own header information, that is 3, and it will transfer the data to the data link layer. So data link layer, it receives the data along with the payload, transport layer header and trailer information, and the network layer informations. So once again the data link layer, it will add the informations, its own information, that is 2, and it will transfer the data, transfer that respective encapsulated informations through the router. So we'll take in detail what happens during the encapsulation process at the application layer. So we can say that the data which is to be exchanged are called as message. So this message does not carry any header or trailer information. So this message will be transferred into the transport layer. So the transport layer receives the message and it will add the transport layer header to the payload. So now the payload contains source and destination application program. So we can suppose if this is the payload, so it will add its own header information. So for example 4, transport layer, I'll take it as 4, and the payload contains the identifiers of source as well as destination application programs. Also some additional informations in order to perform flow control, error control, or congestion control. So the result is the transport layer packet, which is called as TCP or UDP. So this packet will be passed into the next layer, that is the network layer. At the network layer, the network layer receives the information from the transport layer. It will add its own header information. Along with the header information, it will also add some additional informations which can be used in while checking the errors, and fragmentation information if the large packet need to be exchanged between the devices. The result is the network layer packet, which is called as datagram. So that means the network layer information, after adding the header informations to the transport layer packet, which is called as datagram. So the last one is at the data link layer. So it takes the information from the above layer, that is the network layer, as data or payload, and once again it will add its own header information, which contains the link layer address of the host or the next hop, that means the router. So here the informations at the data link layer is called as frame. The frame is passed to the physical layer for the transmission. The diagram shows TCP bar IP layered structure. The packet names across different layers can be considered as. So in the application layer, the packet information can be called as message, and the transport layer we can call it as segments. Internet layer or network layer we can call it as datagrams, and data link layer we can call it as frames, and physical layer which is responsible in order to carry the information in terms of bits. Decapsulation and encapsulation at the router. The router is responsible one for both encapsulation and decapsulation because the router is connected to two or more links. The network layer just checks the source and destination address in the datagram header. The contents of the datagram should not be changed by the network layer in the router unless there is a need to fragment the datagram. If it is too big, then it can be passed through the next link. The data link layer of the next link encapsulates the datagram in a frame and passes it to the physical layer for the transmission. So next we'll take decapsulation at the destination. Encapsulation we can consider under source side, and the decapsulation we can consider at the destination side. So each layer at the destination side is responsible one in order to decapsulate the packet. Each layer decapsulates the packet received from the previous layer, removes the payload and delivers the payload to the next layer, in the sense the higher layer, until the message reaches to the destination. So finally, after removing the respective header across the transport layer, network layer and the data link layer, so final message will be reached to the destination.